Welcome to another episode of How to CEO. I'm your host, Murray Newland, and today I'm joined by Will Decker from Plug and Play. Thanks for joining me.
I know it's great to be here. It's great sitting down here on the third floor in our headquarters and having the conversation. Very excited.
Absolutely. So when you decided to become a CEO, the world changed. You can either build an amazing company or you can crash and burn. We're here to give you the knowledge, the expertise, and the advice to build an amazing company. In this interview, we're going to be discussing corporate innovation and AI. Well, what does that mean? Plug and Play, you are the world-leading experts in this. What does corporate innovation mean, and how is that working in the AI space?
AI, two worlds that have collided, and we've been actively involved across our programs in bringing these together. I think if you look first at the corporate innovation side, if you're sitting as a CIO or even a CEO and you're thinking about innovation, you get hit with a lot of terms, AI being one of them. Right? And quite often it's how are you using it, right? What's your point of view? How are you using it to either drive down cost or to jump revenue?
Yeah.
Then when you look at what Plug and Play does, which is really bring together those corporates with innovative technologies and startups, AI has become baked into everything. So it used to be we saw AI within fintech, AI within retail and marketing, but now every startup has some sort of nugget or AI component to what they do. So what we like right now is what types of projects are you putting in place and using AI to advance those strategic projects and making sure you're not just testing, but you're actually rolling out commercially. You could also be investing in this space to learn with it and encourage certain types of solutions. But we're also looking at artificial intelligence and how you can play in that space even faster. So believe it, we have companies that use AI to build AI solutions. So it's really pervasive.
Yeah.
And then if I think about putting myself in your shoes, if you're a CEO and you're thinking about this space, it ties back to your main corporate strategy, how you approach technology and the digital transformation of your business, and then how artificial intelligence, supports all those different areas. And frankly, if it doesn't, then that's a filter out.
So, okay, what does this, in practice, what does this mean for companies? How do you actually go, hey, we want to do innovation, we want to work with startups, this is a great way to innovate. How do you do it? How do you do it well? And how do you take those first steps? And how do you think about even coming up with a project?
Well, listen, there's a couple areas you can start with. Okay, one is making it a lot easier to listen or to customize at scale. So a lot of our large companies and corporates in innovation, they have many different stakeholders and audiences.
Yeah.
AI actually being a great tool to collect and gather insights, have single conversations with multiple people all at once. So it enables an incredible amount there. It also allows you to tackle some hard problems you couldn't in the past.
Right.
Computer vision, et cetera. There might be some really great things that you could do as an organization if only you had the compute power. AI can solve that. And it's much more open and accessible nowadays than it was in the past. You can also look at it to automate certain things. There's a lot of routine automation and RPA. There's a lot of tasks, physical, manual with help of robotics or otherwise, where AI can come in and really help you automate. So if you look across those different buckets, you'll see how some early wins around AI can help drive your business forward and hopefully get you it should tie into the strategy and specifically to creating real measurable value. So the ROI of those efforts, and then you get some wins that you can do a whole lot more.
Does this normally work as push or does it work as pull? And what I mean by that is, do you say, hey, we want to go out in the market and we want to see what's potentially disrupting our industry, our market, our businesses, and we find amazing startups and we bring them in and they transform things that we didn't know that we existed, problems that we have? Or is it, hey, we have these business cases, here are the business challenges we're trying to face over the next year or 3 years, let's find some technology to help us move faster. Which way does it tend to go?
Which way? Yeah, no, we do see both, but to give you a real answer, it's 80% the latter. So the folks that we see that have a defined business challenge where AI could support it, and they come with that in mind. And I'll be on this is another thing. It's not just a top-down approach. So if you're the CEO, you have a defined problem statement, you go to market looking for a solution, here's what you really need. You really need to know who in your business is going to own that and implement that. Because if they're not along for the ride, that's where it dies. That's where you lob it back into the business and nothing happens. It just becomes some bullet or maybe a safari. It may be a pilot at best, but you don't get the full value. You don't get the commercialization unless everyone who's responsible for making that project a success is involved and is bought in and is not guessing about motivation. So you do that well, that's the winning approach for AI and corporate innovation. Now, if you come in, we do see it 20% of the time where you just need to get smart on a topic area, right? You need to go to these large conferences or work with your trusted partners to get smart around AI, and you'll find an AI technology and it'll pivot after you see this or have this conversation because you realize, hey, I just want to learn about AI and computer vision, but this is something that could help me back office or with logistics and another real business problem I have. And you tweak it, you apply it to a specific use case, and you get some value that way. So we do see that happening within the ecosystem here. But the balance, in my advice, would certainly be come in with something clearly defined. Could be a simple user story or a statement around, we have this consumer experience we want to deliver, or this business problem we want to solve for. But if you've got that, the AI and the companies and the startups and solutions you see can just plug in where you need to.
Because you already have the person who owns that business problem. And so if they find the solution to it, they're then motivated to fix it, rather than you saying, hey, here's something. And
then it's all about, you're going to replace my job, my function. But no, if you're working together, and really interesting things can happen there. Because if you're in data science and you're using artificial intelligence to increase, enhance, make you more productive, right? If you're part of the group that's pushing for something, and then you see your job evolving into something that's a lot more value add and strategic, then great. But if you see this AI solution coming in to reduce your workload and you're against it, we see a lot of that, and it just creates these stalemates.
On the flip side, as a startup, how do you know this is real? Working with corporations takes a long time. How do you know that this isn't just a fishing trip, that this is going to lead to something and it's going to be successful for your company? Because not only could you spend a lot of time, but if it just becomes this little bubble thing that disappears, it actually looks negatively and is negative for your company, because you have this huge work, you get a customer, and then they just go.
Yeah, gosh. Yeah. So I wish I had the $1 million answer for that. But here's some tips and tricks. Look at the track record. Right. Usually there is within the public arena, there are some examples, and in AI, it's actually great because big companies love talking about their efforts in this space. So look for those examples of where they've had successful investments, partnerships with startups in the past. Really strong indicator that that's going to lead to real value potentially. Also, you can be open and expect to set some timelines. Say, hey, listen, is this something that you can give me a yes or no on within 2 weeks?
Yeah. Or
is this something that you're going to deliberate on? That'll help you internally prioritize, so I have to spend on that. I would also say, look at, because they might not have a track record, it might be something new for them. Still have that conversation. Look to have a shorter scope engagement. This is sort of like a pre-sales activity from a startup perspective, where you're building your business case together. So the output shouldn't necessarily just be learnings, but it should be, hey, we're going to build an ROI around our activity that we can then take internally, create a fun story around it, but also build the case and prove the commercial rollout piece. So you should really get clarity on that. If you can, move on and move forward with that. That's a great indication.
Free POC or free trial or paid trial?
Yeah, everyone has a different perspective. And some is no trial. I've actually seen startups come through that say, we're not interested in a pilot, we want the full commercial deal or nothing. I think it depends on what your solution is. If it's software and if you've got a good land grab opportunity and it's a great, 2-week type of a implementation to test timeline, that's great. I'll say in general, my personal opinion, and when I talk to our corporate partners, it's pay for the effort, right? A lot of the startups that you work with are going to be in various stages, some very early, burning through a lot of cash and putting everything on the line for you. So even if it's a test or a proof of concept, look at putting some capital at play for the effort there. I think that's a general best practice, but certainly something that I advise on. But it does depend, right? So if you're well funded, you're in growth mode, and you're just looking to onboard and fill the top of the funnel, and you're looking to do some free pilots, that's certainly going to differentiate you and set you apart. But in general, paid pilots with very defined timelines and scope, and ideally some great outcomes so that you can move forward.
Well, that's great advice. If people want to connect with you, how do they do that?
Find me on LinkedIn. So Will Decker there at Plug and Play. Send me an invite. Tell me you heard about this through How to CEO, and we'll connect and go from there.
Thank you very much. I'm Murray Newlands. You've been listening to the How to CEO podcast. I'll see you next time.
Bye.